If you do that cycle for a couple of weeks, you're gonna take your top off one morning, you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna think, bloody hell, I'm in good shape. We're live. I'm gonna go out on a whim here and say protein is the single most important nutrient any human can consume. Bit of sauce on that. Get that on here, have a look at that. Pop that down there. Regardless of whether you're trying to build muscle, keep the same body, not build any muscle, lose fat, whatever you're trying to do, protein is probably the most beneficial macronutrient there is. By the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what protein is. You're gonna know why it's so important and how you can hit that daily protein target with ease. First of all, we need to know what protein actually is. So if you Google it, you get the fancy answer. Protein helps build and repair muscles, bones, hormones, and enzymes. Basically, the protein that you consume from your foods gets broken down into amino acids, which go straight to your muscles, help them repair, and then boom. So this is why I'm making a video, because if you go on Google and you say, how much protein a day do I need? It will say 0.75 grams or something like that. That is very low. And you need to specify. That Google answer is probably for an 80-year-old granny that just wants to maintain some level of muscle mass in her body and does not train. If you are training, you need between 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if you are 80 kilograms, for example, you'll need between 135 to 165 grams of protein per day. I hope I got that maths right. Maths weren't my strong point back in the day. Look, listen, if you're trying to put on muscle, you have to understand the majority of your meals, from first meal, second meal, to third meal, to late night meal, whatever it is, has to be prioritizing protein. Because if you don't, you ain't gonna hit that daily target. I've been doing my boxing. Let that smoke a bit. Protein is not just protein. And what I mean by that is, if you have a protein bar that's got 22 grams of protein and 2 grams of carbs, that looks fantastic. And look, understand this, these organizations that market this stuff, they market it in a way that makes you think it's good. So then you look at the packet and we're like, oh, look, I can have the chocolate bar and the protein. And listen, if something's too good to be true, it's probably not true. Does that make sense? So although it says 20 grams of protein on the packet, you are getting 20 grams of protein. However, the quality of protein is the lowest possible quality that you can possibly put into your body. And the process that your body's gonna go through to extract the actual protein from that protein bar is horrendous. The problem with low quality forms of protein is that they're not highly satiating, which means you'll eat more and more and more and more, and they're full of rubbish. High quality protein, single ingredient foods. It's boring. Look, it's really boring, and I wish I could turn on the camera and say, look guys, I've discovered this mad trick. If you mix this with this and you do this and add sugar to it, it works and you can get in fantastic shape and eat whatever you like. That's not the case, unfortunately. The truth is, about anything to do with health, fitness, in order to get into a shape where you look in the mirror and you smile and you're genuinely happy, you're going to have to dedicate yourself. You're gonna have to work hard. It's not, there's no tricks, man. Honestly, like, click the link on this channel and it will take you to my course that's got all these tricks, and I ain't got that for you. And getting into a shape where you can take your top off and smile is not easy. However, there are things that you can do to make the process easier, if that makes sense. However, it doesn't matter how easy you make it, it won't be easy. You still have to dedicate yourself to it. So that was a little tangent. However, protein, split it. Now I'm about to contradict myself a little bit with this hack of how you can get more protein, making sure you get the right nutrients and you stay in a calorie deficit in order to see the muscle that you're building. Your first meal of the day, which shouldn't be in the morning, however, that's another video. Your first meal of the day should be at least 70–80% protein, and that's it. Whether that's eggs, chicken, beef, salmon, lamb, I don't know, whatever. A single ingredient food that is just protein. And if you do have any sort of carbohydrates with that, it should be a single bit of fruit or a couple bits of fruit. That's it. That is it, especially for your first meal of the day. The best way to smash your protein target every single day is by prioritizing it. If you think about it like this, if you have a target to hit with anything, then you prioritize it. Prioritize it earlier. If you eat complex or processed carbohydrates at the start of the day, first of all, it's not satiating, which means you can eat it and eat it and eat it and eat it. There's a reason why if you open a bag of crisps or you open a bag of Pringles or whatever, you get through the whole tube and you'll finish it and you'll be 30 minutes later, you'll think, oh, did I even eat? Try do that with a steak. Try get through 6 eggs and even like a slice of beef. I guarantee by the end of it, you're like, do you know what I mean? Full to the brim. Prioritize protein early in the day. If you want to stand the chance of not just getting lean and building muscle, but sustaining it. Everything that I say is in order to build a physique and maintain it, sustain it for a very long period of time. There's no better way to sustain your physique than hitting your protein target every day. There's no better way to hit your protein target every day than by prioritizing it in your first meal. I'm gonna pop a couple pictures up on the screen, boom, boom, of some meals that I consume around maybe 12, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. That'll be my first meal of the day. Anything before that is coffee, water, or electrolytes, or coconut water. That's it. That is it, honestly. And whenever I stay consistent with this cycle and with this way of living, I stay lean easily. My muscle mass and strength goes through the roof with my training, and I don't go to bed hungry. And they're 3 things I struggled with for years. So if you want to know how much protein you need to take, actionables. Weigh yourself. Remember, 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Prioritize protein in your first meal of the day to make the rest of the day easier of hitting your target. And thirdly, clean, please. Single ingredient protein sources. And just remember, there's a hidden cost behind that 20-gram protein bar that's in a packet. Remember that. The hidden cost is that it will not satiate you and you'll end up going through a cycle of eating more and then boom, boom, you're putting on fat and you never get to see the muscle that you trained for. Woo! Amazing. But yeah, until then, until the next one,